Hey everybody, Mo here, and on the docket for today is a brief update on where we're at with the MORE Act, an IRS blog post regarding cannabis, some updates on the Illinois market, dispensary real estate, sort of, and a couple other things I wanted to bring up. Welcome to the Wednesday, September 29th edition of Mary Jane Markets, a show covering the developing news of the North American cannabis sector every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I also analyze a few of its operators, Cresco Labs, Curaleaf, Green Thumb Industries, and TrueLeaf. Let's take a quick look at how the market has fared over the last 2 days since we last checked in on Monday. As you can see here, a lot of red on the screen. Speculative sectors such as ours usually take a bigger hit when the broader market dips. Both the S&P and the NASDAQ, those are the last two charts I have there, dropped around 2% today, and as you can see, they didn't recover. And that's being attributed to rising yields in the Treasury market, which I think are reacting to the FOMC's comments that we talked about the other day. Fed Chair Jerome Powell and Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen also testified before Congress yesterday, and there's the ongoing fears that inflation will be persistent. All right, going a little bit out of order today, let's talk about government policies first. On Monday, we discussed that the House Judiciary Committee would be marking up the MORE Act, a bill sponsored by the committee's chairman, Tom Engel of Marijuana Moment, providing us an update that a decision was not made today and the committee is expected to vote on it on Thursday. Moving along, I also came across an interesting blog post the other day from IRS Commissioner DeLon Harris. He's a commissioner of a department within the IRS, the Small Business / Self-Employed Examination Department. So it looks like they oversee over 57 million small business owners and self-employed taxpayers with business interests having less than $10 million in assets. The title of this is Providing Resources to Help Cannabis Business Owners Successfully Navigate Unique Tax Responsibilities. So this is basically a blog post about how small businesses can stay compliant with IRS tax laws. There aren't any tax law changes or anything like that. I think for us, the significance of this blog post is that it shows us how the IRS views cannabis operators. Even though he's in the small business department, his views and attitude toward companies that operate in this space could be indicative of broader sentiment within the IRS. So like I said, nothing you wouldn't expect in here. He acknowledges the complexities of the legal differences on a state and federal level. I very much get the impression here that the IRS wants people to be compliant with all these tax laws. They say here they want to promote voluntary compliance through things like outreach and education. They go on to give more detail into that. They also say that they're taking actions or engaging in activities internally to raise awareness in this space. So things like on-the-job training, coordinating with the industry, giving taxpayers access to information on how to exactly comply with these requirements, such as this blog post. Then they go over some basic concepts here and provide links to more information. So all in all, I thought it was a pretty positive post and provided some insight into how the IRS is thinking about the space and wanted to share that with you. So I'm happy that they're paying attention to this space and providing this information. As this industry develops and as we're all holding our breath waiting for laws to change, communication from the IRS is going to be very important. All right, a quick update on the Illinois market that's impacting companies' revenues. During my last update on this state, we spoke about the 3 lotteries that took place over the summer and the scoring error made by the government that's causing a 4th lottery for certain zones and how that was going to shake up the winners. We also spoke about a lawsuit out there holding up actually awarding those winners with their licenses. Hopefully that catches up any new viewers. No word on when that makeup lottery will be yet, but that's probably for the best as Illinois was hit with 4 new lawsuits from companies that are claiming that regulators didn't take certain information into account when assessing their applications. Hearing dates have yet to be set for these, so these could delay that awarding process even further. Since there is precedent to do this by this other ongoing lawsuit that's been holding up the awarding since July. Not to rehash this, but the update I have for you is that the court date has been set for mid-October. That's October 19th. So we're looking at almost another month of delays here. This might seem like irrelevant news, but for operators like Cresco, Cura, or GTI that are operating in the state, it's sort of invisibly having an impact on these companies' revenues. Illinois is the 5th largest market in the country. My estimation that it is a $6.4 billion cannabis market. Last year they had just over $1 billion in legal sales. That's only 16% of the potential market. The longer that these licenses get delayed, the longer it takes these companies to get that infrastructure set up and start contributing to sales in the state. And with Cresco, Curaleaf, GTI being major players in the Illinois market, these are sales they could be making but are missing out on. So this is something to consider while modeling out 2021. We expected this year to be boosted a bit by 185 more dispensaries coming online and expanding supply. That's 185 more storefronts in 185 more locations in a state that borders 5 others to fulfill that demand, and that's just not going to be there. All in all, Illinois is still going to finish off 2021 with phenomenal numbers. We've looked at monthly sales for the state here on this show, but this is something to keep in mind and consider, not just for 2021, but as we look forward to next year, this could be a catalyst in 2022's back pocket. All right, moving on to broader news in the sector. This is on dispensary floor space increasing, and it's coming from the 2021 MJ Biz Fact Book. The actual fact book is available to download if you're interested, but it's $200 and covers these topics. I didn't buy it, but they did highlight this topic in an article, with the headline being average retail space in cannabis stores climbs sharply. So in 2020, the average size rose 50% to 3,357 square feet for a medicinal dispensary and 35% to 4,308 square feet for recreational shops. I'm assuming that's compared to 2019. They don't explicitly say that, but those are pretty significant increases. They postulate that it's because of the need for larger spaces and social distancing during the pandemic. They also say that some of that space is coming from converting other parts of the store to retail space, but that much of it is being driven from increased demand in maturing markets. It's probably a bit of both. I don't want to discount the way people are thinking about indoor spaces because of the pandemic, but I've been to dispensaries in the Chicagoland area which comfortably handled foot traffic when they were medicinal only, and then when the state flipped and they started serving recreational consumers as well, those lines are to the door on a normal day. And it wasn't just long lines, it also broke up layout of the store, which they had intentionally set up. They had sitting areas where workers would talk to patients or get them signed up, or let people sit and look over a menu, and even ancillary products on one side. And now there's just a wall of people all the time. And forget about social distancing. So that privacy a patient might want, and just the overall experience that they intended for a customer to have when they walked in, is completely gone. Anyway, I'm probably droning on too long about that. To tie this into our investments in these operators, which is why I picked out this article to share with you in the first place, larger buildings mean higher capex costs or higher rent. So this might mean that liability per store has gone up in the last year. I'm not sure about that. That's not something I've tracked on the balance sheet. It's also a difficult thing to track because mostly we only hear about new stores when they open, but that might be an interesting question to ask on an earnings call. I don't have any company-specific news for you today, so we'll just move on to our Things Happened segment, where I just rapid-fire get through a couple things. First up is a new investor presentation from Cresco Labs. If you want to check this out, this is available on their website. As we get toward the end of the month, we'll probably see new presentations from the other MSOs as well, and some news on if they'll be participating in any October conferences. Lastly, it looks like Tumblr is going to allow cannabis-related businesses to advertise on their platform, at least in some states like California and Colorado for now, where it is legal. This topic in general has been pretty contentious among operators and social media giants, especially when it comes to consumption of the substance. These guys definitely have the ability to show these ads in states where it is legal, but because it's federally illegal, they put a blanket ban on ads, and they've banned or shadow banned accounts that promote consumption. Even TrueLeaf's own account on Instagram was banned this year. I've also heard YouTube creators say that their content gets demonetized when they talk about consumption. That might be the best natural segue I'll ever have of telling you that I have my own Patreon, because I don't know if YouTube will ever monetize my content, even though I describe this channel as a financial news and investing channel, and I don't talk about consumption. I have no idea if they'll do that. So I've set up a Patreon. It's at patreon.com/MaryJaneMarkets. If you're liking the show and want to show your support, please check that out. You can also reach me on Twitter at MJMarkets. And that's all I have for you today. Pretty quiet couple of days, so I'll see you on Friday.